We just created our first component, and now we need to tell React Native that we want this component to show up on the screen of our device. Until we do so, we're going to continue to see the default content of the home screen, which is right here. All right, so to tell React Native that we want to show this component on the screen, I'm going to go back to the app.js file that's inside of my root of my project directory. So here's the app.js file right here. Inside of here, you're going to see a little bit of existing code. So this code right here is some code that I added into our starter project. Remember, I mentioned that I added in just a little bit of code. This is pretty much it right here. So you'll notice there's not a whole lot going on. We'll talk about great details of what's going on inside of here over time. But once again, for right now, let's just try to get our new component to show up. So to do so, I'm going to first import the component we just created underneath the second import statement that is already inside of here. So right here, I'm going to say import component screen from, and then I'll list out a relative path to that file we just created. So by relative path, I mean that we need to essentially describe the path from our root project directory, which is where the app.js file is, to the component screen file. So I'll first put in /, which means look in the current working directory. So look in the root project directory, then go into the src folder. So I'll write out .src, then go into the screens folder, and then finally find the component screen file inside there. So components screen, like so. When we write out these import statements, we are not required to put on the path, or excuse me, the extension of the file at the end of the path. So we do not have to put on .js like that. Okay, so now component screen right here is a direct reference to the function back over here that we just created. So now to make that component show up on the screen, we're going to add it to this stack navigator thing. The stack navigator is a little object that decides what content we're going to show on the screen at any given point in time. So we want to add in the component that we just created as an additional option for this stack navigator to show. So to do so, I'm going to find this first object right here, and right after home screen, I'll put in a comma. I'll then say components, like so, and components screen. So we've now added in our new component as a possible option for our stack navigator to show to the user. In the second object right here, you'll notice that there's an option called initial route name. That's a description or a configuration option that tells this navigator thing what the first component is that should be displayed. Right now it's set to home, which means that the stack navigator is going to find the home option right here and show that component on the screen first. So we're going to update that initial route name and tell it that we instead want to show this components option. So I will change home to C components. Make sure that components right here has the exact same spelling as components right there. If it's not the exact same, you're going to end up seeing an error message. Okay, so I'll save this file. And when I flip back over to my device, I'll see the component we just put together on the screen. So I see the text, this is the component screen. And I see that both on Android and my iOS device as well. You'll also notice that this text is kind of large. And that's because back inside of our component screen component, remember, we added in that font size of 30. If we start to change that font size, like let's say go up to 50 or so, you're going to see that text appear much larger. Or if we go all the way down to 10, it's going to be far smaller. I'm going to leave it at 30 for now. Okay, so we've now gone through the process of creating an entire React component and then wiring it up to this stack navigator thing inside of our app.js file. So now that we can see some content on the screen, let's take a quick pause. We're going to come back and we're going to do a quick little summary to kind of fill in a couple blanks about all the code that we just wrote. So I'll see you in just a minute.